I wasn't even out of my car when the kid banged on my window and said, "Hey, boy, take me to school. Mom said you work here." I blinked, thought he was joking, until he opened the back door like I was his damn Uber. Kid didn't know I was holding the keys to the very school he strutted around like he owned the place. It happened on a foggy Monday morning in late October, the kind where the mist hangs low and you can't tell if it's going to rain or just be ugly all day. I pulled into the staff parking lot of Greenridge Academy, sipping bad coffee and half hearing some podcast about restoring old guitars, when this snot-nosed kid, cargo shorts and fall, of course, comes marching across the lot like he was late for a coronation. He had this smug swagger, chin up, jaw jutted, like life owed him something for just existing. I didn't recognize him at first. I mean, we have over 700 students, and I usually deal more with parents and faculty than the daily lunch line crowd. But something about the way he talked, that tone like I was beneath him, struck a nerve that goes way back. You ever feel your jaw lock before you even say a word? That was me, but I played it cool. "Excuse me," I said, turning down the radio, slow and deliberate. He repeated it, louder this time. "You're one of the janitors or something, right? My mom said you'd be here. I missed the bus, so drive me. I'm late." I looked him dead in the eye and said, "Hop in." Not because I was going to take him, but because I was curious. Curious what kind of Karen raises a kid like this. I knew where this was headed, and I wanted to see it up close. So I let him sit in the back, smug as ever, backpack slung sideways, scrolling on his phone like I was invisible. I took the long way around, through the faculty gate, parked in my reserved spot marked Principal Jameson Reserved, and stepped out. Kid didn't notice. Too busy texting or playing Clash of Clans, or whatever 13-year-olds do when they think the world spins for them. I opened his door, leaned in, and said, "We're here." He looked around, confused, noticed the sign, the empty parking lot, the teachers walking in. He squinted. "Wait, this isn't the front entrance." "Nope," I said, locking my car with a beep. "Staff entrance. You want to follow me?" He blinked. "Why?" I looked him square in the face, smiled, and said, "Because I'm the principal, and we're going to have a little talk. You ever see someone's soul leave their body?" That was this kid right there in the parking lot. Color drained, mouth hung open, like he realized the clown car he thought he was driving just flipped on its roof. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why didn't I just send him to detention and move on? Trust me, I would have if this was just one dumb kid with a bad mouth. But it wasn't. He was the match. His mom? The gasoline. Turns out his mother, let's just call her Karen, because the shoe fits way too well, had been badgering the school board for months. Complaining about woke policies, demanding we remove books that made her uncomfortable, insisting we fire teachers who taught anything about race, gender, or, God forbid, kindness. She even accused our African-American history teacher of indoctrination for teaching, well, African-American history. She was one of those, entitled, angry, and loud enough to get people nervous. And now her son had just called the black principal of the school boy and demanded a ride. So I dug in. I pulled his file, not just his grades, but the disciplinary records. Multiple detentions for disruptive comments. 3 warnings for inappropriate language toward female and minority classmates. And not a single signature from his mom on any of the parent notices. I called his teachers. All of them had stories. One said he told a Latina classmate to go back to wherever she came from. Another caught him mocking an autistic kid during group work. But here's the kicker: in one teacher's notes, they'd written, claims his mom told him he didn't have to listen to staff of color. Oh, hell, no. That's when I knew I wasn't just dealing with a brat. This was systemic, taught, reinforced. So I brought in my assistant principal, Mrs. Patel, who has the patience of a saint and a backbone made of steel, and we hatched a plan. First, I scheduled a mandatory parent meeting. Told Karen it was about her son's academic progress. She showed up 20 minutes late, Starbucks in hand, phone out, barking at someone on Bluetooth about people who don't understand how hard it is to be a single mother. No apology, no eye contact. I stood up, greeted her calmly, and said, "Thank you for coming. We need to talk about your son's behavior and yours." The moment she realized I wasn't a secretary or security guard was priceless. She stuttered, sat down, tried to regain composure. I could tell she was used to intimidating people. It didn't work here. I laid out everything, the language, the complaints, the witnesses. Her face shifted from defiance to anger to forced indignation. "He's just a boy," she shouted. "You people always make a big deal out of nothing." "You people," I repeated slowly. "Care to clarify that?" She backtracked, tried to turn on the waterworks. Claimed her son was being bullied. Said we were targeting him. Said I was biased. Mrs. Patel, bless her, just said calmly, "The only bias here is coming from your side of the table." Karen stood up, flustered, and said, "I'll be taking this to the district board." I smiled. "Please do. I've already filed a formal report, including audio from your son's behavior this week." Yep. I'd had my assistant record his little speech in the car. Legal on school property, especially for safety reasons. It's funny how the truth lands when you've got receipts. But she didn't back down. Nope. She doubled down. The next day, she showed up with a lawyer, some poor guy who clearly realized too late who he was representing. She filed a complaint alleging discrimination, harassment, even unlawful detainment, because I didn't let her son leave the office fast enough. It was a circus. So I called the district superintendent, asked for a hearing, invited the school board. I even invited parents and staff, made the whole thing public. Transparency, baby. And on the day of the hearing, I laid it all out. Every incident, every teacher's statement, every email Karen had sent full of threats and borderline slurs. The audio from her son, the community impact, how other students were starting to mimic his behavior because they saw no consequences. Karen tried to interrupt, claimed I was on a witch hunt. One board member, a white veteran teacher who'd been quiet the whole time, finally said, "Ma'am, if anyone's on a hunt here, it's you, and it looks a lot like hate." That shut her up. By the end of the hearing, the board had suspended her son pending a full psychological review, placed Karen on a restricted visitor list, and moved forward with diversity and inclusion training, the very thing she'd been trying to ban. She stormed out, of course, swearing under her breath. But she was done. Her influence gone. Her voice ignored. As for her son, a few weeks later, he came back. Quieter. Moved to a different homeroom. Apologized to two of his classmates, awkwardly, sure, but it was something. And for the first time, I saw a glimpse of a kid who could still change. I don't know if he will. I don't know what his future holds. But I know this silence never stops people like Karen. Sunlight does. And sometimes it means stepping out from behind your title, your tie, your polite teacher voice, and driving the damn kid to school yourself. Anyway, thanks for hearing me out. Ever had to deal with someone like that, where you just knew they were pushing their hate on their kid? Drop your story below. I'd love to hear it.